Hello again, Internet. My name's Michael, and I'm on a mission to rescue, restore, rebuild and return to full working order this 100-year-old Wurlitzer band organ. Here's its baby brother, a replica I've been building for 20 years, and I'm hoping I'll get them all finished by the end of this year. This episode we're going to continue with the Bellows, and we will make sure that we get the pump boards installed correctly, and then we're ready to cover them with leather. Okay, let's go see how I'm getting on. Well, I've got all the stiffeners glued to the inside of the Bellows leather. That's the outside, but the inside has these six pieces of card. Now, if we look at the drawings, you'll see that on certain areas, little corners here and along the strip there, they've put extra stiffeners, not stiffeners, but something that strengthens it so it's less likely to come loose or come away from the leather. I've cut the pieces we need for this according to the drawings. And I'm going to use hot hide glue, as usual, to glue these little leather stiffeners onto the cardboard and the leather. This is the first part. It acts as a hinge. It also makes sure that this is where there's a lot of pressure with the leather, so it's really strengthening it, acting like a hinge, as you can see there. I'm not putting it under clamps. I'm just hoping that will form its own bond and be flexible. So now I'm using hot hide glue again to put on the very first of these tiny strengtheners. Oh, there was a piece that was just coming away from the leather there, so I'm just putting a little bit of glue under there. I'll get the strengthener on there immediately. But the first one goes on this corner where you can see I'm putting it on now. Now this is thick, and so there's a bit of a gap before this goes down to meet the leather proper underneath. So what I've got are some blocks that have got compressible foam on them, and these I've used before for several things, so I'm going to put those on there so they will actually conform to the shape underneath, and we'll be ready to clamp it down. Bit of release film, two these blocks, that's the size I've got, and then clamp this. There's a piece of 1/4 inch wood underneath, and that's how we're clamping them. Well, I've had this clamped under pressure for about an hour and a half, and I'm taking off the clamps, taking away these blocks, take off this. So here you can clearly see where the soft part of this block has clamped it down all the way around to the leather. That's going to give us a really good, excellent strength on those corners. So now I'm removing the last of these blocks. You see clearly how lovely they've formed to the shape that these thicknesses of leather have made, and they're really nice. Okay, I'm going to get ready to glue these last strips on, which will go across the long pieces of the stiffener. So now we'll just let that set up for a couple of hours. It does tend to need like cracking, breaking the like a thin layer of glue that's down in the hinge. That has to crack so that this will hinge nicely. But I think that's looking good. And I'm ready to put this aside and then get ready to start on preparing the final couple of steps on the pump boards. So with the leather for the bellows being almost finished, we're almost ready to install it on the bellows. The only thing we have to do now is just finish off the pump boards, which are pretty much finished. We just need to put in the hinges. Now the hinges are made up of a piece of rope that's then forced down into a hole with a piece of rod. It's quite a simple affair, but because the holes are slightly different depths on each of the sides of the boards, they will all be slightly different lengths. So I'm going to cut some 3-inch lengths. I need 2, 4, 6, 8. So I'm going to cut 8 3-inch lengths, and then we'll get down to gluing the first hinge rope into the sides of the pump boards. What I'm doing now is slipping the leather here so that the cord can lay down flush inside there. This will be trimmed off later. We also have to put another piece of leather here that folds back over itself and fixes to the inside of the upper board, and a piece here that fits to the lower edge of the lower board. So now I need to work out how deep the hole has to be, or how deep it is. I'm going to mark that because we have to sand off this to make it like a wedge shape. The wedge shape there is going to be what holds this in and gets tighter and tighter, as we push it in. So the idea with the hide glue is just to hold it so that it's flush down in the slot. Put a little bit of glue. I'll put a little bit of glue on the cord. That'll just hold it down in the bottom without it coming out. I'm ready to install the pump boards inside the upper and lower frames. One last thing I have to do to the pump boards is that where this goes inside, once it's pumping, we need to make sure that it doesn't lose any air through these gaps at the back. You can see here. And what we do there is we glue a piece of leather on either side of the pump board, which will then be folded back so that we can glue it onto the wedge, and that gives us a complete airtight seal along the end of the pump boards. So I'm going to put the mask it up and glue these things on, and then we are ready to just install them. Great progress. So these were just because of the spongy stuff here to help it hold it down nicely. You can see how that folds back. That's excellent. That's excellent too. Now for the second strips of leather. That's the first pump board installed, complete with the leather seals. They're sticking out at the moment. That's because I'm going to have room to trim them off, and when the leather comes down here, we'll make that airtight there. So I'm going to let this set up a bit before I do the second one. I didn't get much good footage of this. That's simply because there's too many things going on at once. I can't go back and forth with the camera, so I'm sorry about that. I'll try and get some better stuff on the next one. I'll have a bit more idea what I'm doing there. I've done this once before, but that's like 18 years ago, and there's not much space to get in here and do stuff like marking up, putting in tape, gluing, making sure that the leather is properly positioned to create the seal. But it worked. I'll do the other one in about an hour's time once I've had a rest and a cup of tea. Got to have a brew. I'm wondering if it'll be better for me to put the glue... Get off. If it'd be better for me to put the glue on the actual leather, and then push the board in. I've got no idea if it'll be easier or messier, but it's pretty messy as it is, so that's not going to hurt if I make a bit more of a mess. I reckon by the time we finish, I'll have like 60% original and 40% new when it comes down to it. But it did need a good restoration. There's no doubt about that. Right, time for a cup of tea. When I fixed in the pump board on the first one, I put the glue for these sealing flaps inside here. What I'm going to do now is something different. I'm going to tape this back, mask off this, put glue on, and then slip it in, release the tape, and then just glue the bits that didn't get glue on them first. I'm hoping that'll be a bit cleaner and easier for me. So that's what I'm up to now. Well, that's the pump boards completely installed. So now we have these two sides, both sides of the pump bellows, ready to put the leather on. As you saw earlier, that's the leather that's been stiffened with cardboard and special strengthening strips of leather. I've also started making pump sticks. These will have a hole drilled in there, and these will fix around the crankshaft, and these will fix onto the board, and the crankshaft will make these operate. And the same on the backside too. Now the wonderful thing about this is that there are two channels, upper and lower, on each side. So these two will reciprocate up and down, which means a bit like a 4-cylinder car engine, you've got 4 strokes, if you will. For every rotation of the crankshaft, you have 4 chambers of wind pushing out of here from the top portion and out of here for the bottom portion into the reservoir which goes on the top. So that's getting very exciting. So that's all I'm going to show you today for this week. This has been a lot more work than I remember it being the last time I did one. Just these leather strips and all the stiffening and everything is just so time consuming. And the pump boards, well, they're original. They're over 100 years old. From what I can surmise now, from a number I found stamped onto the end of one of these, it could be much earlier than the 100 years, possibly about 115 years. But I'll talk about that in another episode when I delve into the history of it. So right now, that's all I got for you. I hope this video finds you in as good health as I am at the moment. I'm about to shoot off to Ocean City in California for a week with my doggy on the beach. But I'll try and do some work while I'm away, editing. I've got lots of footage from various things which I need to edit. But until I see you again, have a great time between now and then, and good luck. Cheers.